Okay, to add the thread, and you may not want to trim your tail until you've gotten the new thread added, but I do know that I stopped on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in this side, and this is where we do the hard turn and lock those beads in place, and that's why I want to start over here so I come back out at the correct side of the work to pick back up. So go ahead and give yourself a tail long enough to hold on to, run it through a couple of beads, and then again pick up a thread with your needle, hang on to your tail as you pull, run your needle through the loop, and then pull to get that first knot secure. Run it back through a couple more beads, half hitch knot till we get out. Just run a series of these knots until now here that I am back at the work near the end. I'm going to run it through. This is why it's important to start to end in the place where you stopped. I'm going to run it through the seed bead, and now I'll be ready to pick up and start this row over. Then you can continue on until it's time to add your other thread. Now go ahead and make the bracelet to where it just about meets when you put it around your wrist, and then we'll add the button and the seed bead loop to attach to the button. Okay, now that I've just about completed the bracelet, the length of the bracelet, and for a 7.5 inch bracelet I go ahead and weave the band to 7 inches. So I'm almost done. I'm just going to do this last row, and then we'll be able to attach the button. And I'm using a shank button, and so when you use shank buttons you need to support the shank to the bracelet by using 2 seed beads. So I'm done with this, and all I'm going to do is weave back through the work to where I want to place my button. You want to place the button in the middle, obviously, and toward the end of the bracelet here. So I'm just going to kind of set it and see if that's about where I want it, and you can see the shank. So I'm going to go ahead and string on a seed bead, and it doesn't matter what color you use. Then this button, and then another seed bead, and this just stabilizes the button. It doesn't do much else, but just kind of keep the button. And then I'm going to weave back through a couple of beads, and then I'm going to bring it up and down through the bracelet to secure the button. I just want to get it back here. First. Okay, then I'm going to bring it back through the seed bead. Oops, not yet. Okay, now I'm going to bring it up just below the button. Right here, I'm going to bring it through this bead, up through the seed bead that's surrounding it, through the button, back through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just like you're sewing a button onto a shirt, I'm just going to bring it down through the work And I'm just going to kind of do that a couple of times just to reinforce the button. So you just do this 2 or 3 times or until you're satisfied with the button and how tight it is. And then we'll half hitch knot the button into the work, and then you can trim your threads. Okay, now that we're ready to do the little loop for the button, all I'm going to do is going to take off this stop bead, and this is why I wanted you to leave 6 to 8 inches, and I really like doing the 8 inches. It gives me more to work with. So we're going to rethread our needle so we don't have to add any threads. Okay, once you've got your needle threaded, you're going to need to bring the thread back to the center beads. So this is our center bead here, so I'm going to bring my thread to right here. And then I'm going to string on some of the 11/0 seed beads, and this loop, the length of this loop really depends upon the size of your button that you're using. So it's just kind of string several on and then kind of string it through and check it. You want it to be not too loose so that it comes off when you're wearing it, but you don't want it to be too tight where you can't get it over it. So I know I'm going to need more than that. You just kind of have to eyeball it. And then I'm just going to kind of slip it through here just to see if that's going to be enough. I just want to give it a test. I'm probably going to want to add just a few more. Okay, and then when I think I've got what I want on there, I'm going to run it back through the bead, and we're just going to again work our threads back into our beadwork, do some half hitch knots, and I like to go ahead and run my thread back through this loop at least once, maybe twice, just to make sure that it's nice and tight, because it tends to curl up as it was doing there. So just run it back through your beadwork here, and then back through the seed bead loop. Okay, I went ahead and ran my thread back through my loop, and I ran it through several beads and did a half hitch knot, and this is how it works and how it holds the button on there. So you've just created this little loop, and you have now completed your bracelet.